All right, yo, what's up? What's up? Welcome back to the podcast, man. It's definitely we got a good one right here, man. This is definitely different. But yeah, welcome back to the podcast, man. What is this? Episode 3? Episode 3? Dang, we on the road to episode 1,000. I ain't even gonna lie. That we about to be lit. Let's get to I want to say let's aim for 1,000 subscribers by the end of this month. I know it's possible, bro. I've been getting some great feedback. With the information that I'm getting, I'm like, okay, I'm doing something right. I got the crew behind me. I got everybody kind of getting that attention for sure. So one thing I do want to do is just thank everyone so far for the support, man. That's amazing. But today we got a great one. I'm gonna let him introduce himself. This is my man's. We really only met just within the last 4 months?
Yeah,
since I started at the same. We work at the same spot. I ain't telling y'all where I work at because I don't want y'all coming up to my spot and on some crazy shit. But yeah, go ahead, introduce yourself, dog.
What's good, y'all? I mean, shit, I feel honored to be on Off Limits. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm Augustine.
Yes, sir.
DQ's homeboy, and it's a pleasure. Appreciate you for having me on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. When I first brought this idea up, like, okay, I just need to get my podcast going. I'm 27, and we in that same age bracket, like I talked about before. Show a lot of similarities, and I was talking to him, and his mindset is definitely something that I found more interesting too as well. But I'll let him kind of, briefly tell y'all about him. Let's start from the beginning, man. Like, let's start from the diapers, man. Like, tell him where you grew up at, where your hometown, things like that.
Man, it's weird for me, man, because I was born in LA.
Okay.
But I grew up in an area in Washington called Federal Way.
Yeah.
Shout out to Federal Way, man.
Yeah.
That's like my second home for real.
Yeah.
And then after midway through middle school, I moved back to Cali.
Yeah.
And finished high school. But Fed's for sure home. That's where I spent a lot of my childhood. But definitely,
that's where y'all was some criminals at then, huh? That was different. That was different.
Yeah.
Like, how was it growing up there? Because that's mostly y'all seasons are really like seasoned. Like, y'all seasons are strict. Here in Vegas, I mean, we got mostly just summer and windy. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
How was y'all seasons out like there?
Yeah, I mean, Washington really is it's gloomy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have the sun here and there, but definitely gets its rain and stuff like that. But Washington's cool, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot of talented people coming out of Washington.
Yeah.
Man, so many talented people, man, from the creative aspect of it, from artists, man,
right.
And it's definitely cool up there.
Yeah.
But,
what age group did you kind of like leave Washington? Did you leave, like, how old was you when you left?
So when I left Washington, I was like, I want to say I was about to be, I think it was like 15.
So you was there. So you was locked in.
It's weird. So when I was 8, I went to Washington, and then from 8 to 15.
Damn.
Yeah, I was up there.
So you was moving around. That's how I was though.
Yeah.
Definitely with my parents, like, you didn't have no choice but to move.
Right.
But like, what was the schools like? Like, was it like you went to a public school? What was it like?
Yeah, no, it's definitely public schools, man. I grew up, like in the ghetto, you know what I'm saying, in Washington, and there's a lot of black people out there. There's a huge black community. A lot of people don't really know about that.
Yeah.
And shout out to my Polynesians too, man. Heavy on the Samoans, and everybody's up there. But we was all just young, just trying to figure it out.
Them Samoans, bro. I'm sorry, I ain't messing with them. I said something earlier today. Them Samoans too strong, bro.
Man,
I got a buddy that I worked with. He's Samoan. His name Jordan, bro. Big as hell.
Yeah.
Big, and they don't feel pain.
Not at all.
They don't feel pain at all.
Not at all.
Hey, how was so growing up in Washington? Like you said, I ain't gonna lie. Every time someone tell me like Washington, I'm thinking like all white people. Like not nothing like to be racist or anything like that. But like I never been to Washington. So what was y'all gangs and neighborhoods like? Obviously you have y'all hoods and everything. What was that like? Was it like? Obviously you've been in Vegas for a long time, and in LA,
Yeah.
What was it compared to LA? Because that's different.
That's a great question. Yeah, so typically, man, in Washington, there is gangs. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole bunch of gangs running around the city. You have folks, you have Crips, you have Bloods.
You got everything.
You got everything up there, and it's different, you know. But compared to LA, obviously, you know, that's kind of like one of the original gang places and stuff like that. But nah, LA definitely got it for sure. But me, you know, I typically, obviously, I grew up, you know, I know people who was in it, but I was really like a sports kid. I grew up from the jump, playing AAU, you know, basketball, playing football. So we was cool with them, but they kind of also kept us out of trouble for real. So we just stuck with sports.
That's kind of how I said it in the last episode too as well. Or actually, it might have been the introduction, but no, I want to say the last episode. But some of the biggest role models to us was not athletes, bro.
Facts.
It was some gang members or something along that line to where we didn't really look up to a LeBron or a KD or anything. Like some of our role models was the dude that was down the block with the BMW, but he was a gang member. Like that was our main like role model for real.
Yeah, or he was just trapping.
Yeah, tell me kind of about your childhood. How was your childhood like? Like what got you from your childhood to your teenage to adult? Like how did you really? Because you sound like you was moving around a lot. So it's like how did that affect you at all?
Man, childhood was interesting, man. Obviously we didn't have the best childhoods, but I grew up with my two younger brothers and then my mom. My mom and my pops kind of split up. Yeah. So, and then after that was with her. I was kind of like a military brat because the dude she ended up being with was in the military. Yeah. And then that's how we got to Washington in the first place. Yeah. Because he was at McCord Force Base. Yeah. But then once they split, it was me, my mom, my two younger brothers. And we was just making our way through Washington, man. Been through a lot, man. My mom couldn't take care of us for a while. She got sick. So, me and my brothers, we was in foster care for a minute.
Foster care?
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy, yeah. So foster care for a minute, and then she got better and whatnot, and then we came back home with her. And nah, man, Washington was, I have so many childhood friends, that I learned so much game and so much like family friends who came in to help my mom out.
Which is deep, yeah.
Yeah, so Washington Fed has my heart because so many people I just love, that I'll do anything for are back there. So, man, it was interesting. But then eventually, like I told you, came back to Cali, LA, and man, just picked up where I left off, man.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing, man. And we'll definitely get to that LA, dog, because I know that was crazy. I know anybody that I meet that came from LA or in that area, they always have those stories to where I'm like, what? Like I know my hometown was different, and I know it was bad, but LA, man, like don't get me wrong, LA is a great place for sure, but I know it has some downfall too. But you mentioned foster care. How was foster care? Because when I see it, I'm thinking everything that I see on TV. Yeah. I've never been in foster care in general. Thank God, I didn't go through the adoption system in a way. Yeah. My family kind of just automatically adopted me, from my biological mom. Because like I said, and I kind of mentioned it into my other video too as well. But growing up, my mom was there. And she did the best that she could, but she was never there. Like she was at home during the day a little bit, but at night in the hood, she was out partying or she was doing things with some of her friends and leaving me at home with my sister. Yeah. But then my sister, she would like leave and go do whatever she was doing. So I'm at the crib trying to figure out what I'm going to eat. Man. Or, I'm bouncing out the crib going to, hit the block with the homies. Yeah. It was back in Waterloo. It's this street called Mulberry Street, and I lived on Mulberry Street. And it was right next to one of our main hoods, which was actually called, the street was called Elm Street. And that's where one of our main hoods at, which was where my family kind of controlled. That was like a street, a block, an area that my family controlled. Yeah. So I was never at the crib. But anyway, kind of explain foster care. Like, how was that like? Because, whether you was in it for a short period of time or a long period of time, that's different because you left Mama Bear. Like you wasn't, You wasn't in her full care. So tell me about that, dog.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah, foster care, man, it was an experience. You know, as a kid, you don't want to go through that. You know, you never want your kids to go through that. But yeah, like you said, it was me and my younger brother, so I was kind of like that person, looked out for them throughout the foster care. It actually wasn't that bad for real.
Yeah.
You know, our experience, it wasn't, you know, really bad. We got lucky, I guess, and got some loving people to look after us. But man, it was really hard on my younger brothers just because, you know, they had to take that adjustment. So I just was always that person to like try and figure it out or be that support system for them, even though I didn't know. Right. You know, but I just had to be that person. So yeah, we went through foster care, but we would still see, you know, our mom and stuff like on the weekends at this office, the social worker office. And man, that was the roughest part because you only get to see your mom like once a week for like an hour. Right. So that would be really hard on my brothers.
So she would have to leave, and then so when she left the building, was it like her just going to work and do things because you was in foster care? So what was she doing? Like, was she just like leaving and coming back?
So she was just sick. So she got lupus. Yeah, she got diagnosed with lupus.
So she was still sick
and,
at that time.
She was just going through a lot, man. And physically, she couldn't like work, so she couldn't like take care of us a lot. Yeah. So she was sick, and then she didn't have the funds a lot. So then she didn't really have family out there for real. So that's where we ended up getting in foster care. Yeah. And man, it was tough. So. You know, she kind of lost us, but she was still working to get back on her feet. Get physically better, but get back on our feet and get get financially back in a good situation. And then just was working to get us back, and she did. But it was extremely hard on her, man. You know, after those little sessions, they would like almost give her a time limit and like take her away from us, and like you could just see it.
No, that's amazing, bro. Because it's like. It's not even like to the point of kind of like sadness in a way. It's like, dang, like I can only imagine like you seeing your mom like that. And I don't usually say this often in a way because you can definitely rub people the wrong way, but I know how you feel. Yeah. Like I really do. Other than my mom having lupus, but to where my sister technically had got put up for adoption. Man. I didn't, but she's older. She was only in there for, she wasn't in there for a long time. It was actually through another, I would say, family member. But, my mom, she was, like I said, she was there, but she was never there. Yeah. And my mom, even to this day, she's still alive and she's still kicking for sure. But I tell people all the time, the honest truth, my mom to this day is a hardcore alcoholic. I'm talking about, bro, from the time she wake up, she's drinking 5 o'clock vodka straight. Man. Like to this day, I wouldn't say it's probably as bad as it was, but bro, it's to the point to where I remember as a family, bro, we tried everything to help our mom, and we tried everything to, put her in better situations. We put her in mental groups to, try to help her, or alcohol abuse groups and things like that, and she will always sign herself out and leave and things like that. So with your mom, kind of how did you guys end up, and I'm gonna say this, bro, and I don't care who get mad, but there's no woman stronger than a black queen. Facts. Bro, fighting as a single mom too as well, there's no woman stronger than a black queen. I don't care what y'all say, what y'all opinion is. Prove me wrong. Going from not only being single moms to handling a lot of things from all different type of situations, there's no one stronger. I'm telling you, and this is just living proof. Yeah. How did you guys? So once she overcame, her illness to be able to get you guys fully back, is that when you guys transferred to or I guess went to LA? And how did you guys all end up in LA?
Yeah, no, that's a great but I agree with you 1,000%. Shout out to the single moms and all the black moms, man, because it's a hard job for sure. Yeah. But once she got us back, man, we we got back on our feet. We stayed in Washington for a little bit. Mm-hmm. But then once I was 15, she was nah, because the weather was playing effect on her sickness as well. Yeah. Because it's always cold and gloomy. Yeah. So it would make her even more sick. So she wanted to go back to the sun, Cali. So when I was 14, 15, she made that transition, and we ended up going back. Yeah. She ended up, so my pops was originally still in LA.
Yeah.
But she found a place in Orange County. So when I went over there, I went with her for a little bit, but my pops in LA, so I was always back in the, visiting him back in the city. And my pops, shout out to Lamert Park. That's where he's at, man. Yeah. Kind of by Dorsey High School for the people that kind of know. So I would spend a lot of time with him and then go back and forth with my mom. So yeah, it was a good transition because it was better for her, her health wise. But then growing up, I didn't spend too much time with my pops. Yeah. So that was like a key turning point for me to really get connected with my pops too. So, but when I was 15, we went to Cali and just started to turn around from there.
Yeah. How was that? Like, how was that relationship building process with your pops? Because like I know with me, like kind of around that same age is when I would say I had my dad now. So my biological dad is still in prison. He's still serving life in prison for murder. Man. Him and his brother, bro. But it's amazing because my aunt and uncle is actually who I call mom and dad now. And her sister, which is my biological mom, bro, like they went, through a lot of situations together to where my biological mom would be like, why are you calling her mom and this and that? But crazy, right?
Wow.
But my dad now, so my uncle, but my dad, he took over that role of honestly being my dad, like for real. I mean, he would talk to me just like anybody else, his other two sons and two daughters. Like, so I have two older brothers.
Wow.
That are technically my cousin. Biologically, I have an older brother. I'm the third oldest out of my actual siblings.
Yeah.
But through my brothers now, he would talk to me all the same way. He would talk to us all the same way. And my dad, like his grind is different. So like, I'm 27. He's been a certified barber ever since 95 maybe.
Oh, so he's been hustling.
He's been like nonstop. His ass was supposed to retire like last year in December, but he ain't. Like,
he don't know what stop means.
Not as much. No, he still do it kind of like maybe every other weekend or something like that. They're back home in Waterloo. They're transitioning to move to Texas, but yeah, like how was that relationship building? Because with us, it wasn't even like a thought process. Like, I'm gonna be honest, how I started calling them mom and dad was crazy. Like, I think about it sometimes. It just honestly happened because I was young. Yeah. But I was young enough to where I knew better too as well. To knew the difference of who was my actual mom and dad and stuff like that. I was just, she would come, so my aunt, she would come pick me up almost like every day. She would come to my school because I was getting in trouble a lot. Yeah. I was getting arrested a lot to where she worked in the school system with kids. And so she knew how to deal with me. I was still getting in trouble. I had a felony at the age of like 14, like a highest class felony. Man. I had a class A and a class C. Yeah. That's the two highest you can get pretty much, the highest and technically the lowest, but the worst. It's still a felony as a minor. And so I was always getting in trouble. So she picked me up and she was doing everything that my mom wasn't doing. Yeah. Like after school, I would have to walk down to her home, do my homework or, something like that, or get dropped off in the morning before I go to school because my granny had to work and things like that. Yeah. But
you really felt that connection, like that was your mom, like, from her.
Man, I promise you right now, and God will strike me now. It don't matter where I'm at, who I'm around. If they both around together,
that's mom and dad.
I'm mom, dad. Yeah. And so, they don't show. I shouldn't say they don't show hatred towards each other because they don't have hate in their blood. But my biological mom, she feels some type of envy or because I call her that. So how was that relationship building with your dad? Because, bruh, going from not being around him a lot or, little less than none to being around him, how was that build up?
No, that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. Like, because outside looking in, you'll think a lot of kids will have all this built up animosity and hatred and stuff like that. But I was so busy being the older brother / dad in my own situation that even crossed my mind. Right. I didn't have no animosity, no hate, no like, oh, you didn't, you abandoned me, none of that.
Right.
But once I fell back into his situation, I didn't know what to react.
Yeah.
It was almost like a person you meet at school who's trying to be your friend. They trying to be in your friend group, but it's like, I don't really know about their vibe for real. Let me just keep hanging out and see where it goes.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have no feeling towards him, man. But we just started just hanging out, just genuinely going out. Just really wanted to get to know him, man. Hear his stories, and really, because our parents have their own stories to what happens in the relationship. Facts. My mom has a story, my dad has a story, and then there's the truth, and then there's my perspective, and I could read who's who. Mm-hmm. So knowing my mom, she's been through a lot. She's a bitter person, and she did some things. We're not all the best people, but my pops, man, he's just a genuine dude, man. Like if he was me, or if he was my age, we would be the same person. No cap. Yeah, that's like crazy. Back in his day, he was smooth, like with the ladies. Till this day, man, this man sends me pictures, cheesing with his waves. Hey, look at my waves. Look at these J's. Look at the suit. You see the old head fit. You see the sucker suit. You see the sucker suit. Yeah, I got a yellow one last man. He's a funny dude, but he got so much game and so much love, and he's such a genuine heart. And on my dad's side of the family, man, that's just how they are, man. They just close knit with the family. They talk every day, and just got that Southern flair to them, and it's just love. It's genuine. So
that's amazing.
He didn't have to convince me like he was trying to do this and that. Like to this, he's like my best friend. Yeah. And coming back at 15, that was such a critical time because I was still growing in myself as a man. Asking myself questions and. Things I'd even ask him, but just by observing him and just things he would do towards me, it started to click, like, and some of the realest game he gave me about women, bro. That's why I said such a critical time. Bro, my pops gave me this quote, man. Shout out to my dad. He said, I remember I was dealing with this one chick, I'm not gonna say no names, man, but she was bad. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you see a dude and you're like, damn, like he was such and such, one of those type of situations. And I don't know, I had a situation with her, and she was just kind of a controlling type of girl type, and then I remember one time I was at my pop's crib, and she was there too, but my pops told me, like, yo, hey, son, listen, ain't nothing more important to a man than peace of mind. Yeah. Go ahead, get you a 7, get out the way. Like get you a 7. That's fine. Because us, we be trying to chase the baddest thing. Young dudes be, we be trying to see what we can get because it's about who we really do it because we want to flex on to other bros like we bag shorty,
ex homie,
we bag, So he just say, hey son, listen, get you a 7, get you out the way, man. Get you a girl who gonna really, she gonna do everything for you, and you ain't got to worry about. You ain't got to second guess nothing.
Right. So that's deep because like almost like how my mom and dad is now is like, so my dad, he would always tell me like the honest truth of, when I was messing up and things like that. Now, like I said, I never had my biological dad. Yeah. The only time I would talk to him was over the phone, and as a youngin', well, he never really called me like that much. Like, bro, I'm talking about he had my numbers and stuff like that. Yeah. Never really called me either. I know he's in jail. So when you talk about like not having animosity and things like that, I'm gonna be honest. Like, my dad's been locked up ever since I was 8, maybe turning 9.
It's hard not to feel that in your situation.
Yeah, and so like sometimes like when he call, I'm obviously he'll call now more consistently. But you go from 9 to 27, bro. You missed a lot of those years. Yeah. And I'm going to be honest, like, with your dad saying that quote, because when I first brought home a girl or introduced him to, my first baby mama, it was different. Like, he looked at me, like, what are you doing? And I was like, because he knew I was messing up too. He knew I wasn't doing what I was supposed to fully as a father, because I had my son at a young age too. Yeah. But giving you some energy and some motivation, even though he knew that he wasn't there, he's still trying to obviously provide in ways that a dad should, and that's amazing, bro. Yeah. Because with that just shows how mature your mindset is too as well. Yeah. Because you didn't go into it full blood on like mad or angry or why wasn't you doing this versus that,
Yeah. And back to you, bro. You had every right to feel that. You know what I'm saying? Like, even for me, like I could have really felt like that, but at the same time, I think I was so distracted because I was so caught up in being my brother's big brother / dad.
Yeah.
You know, really trying to look out for them. So I didn't have time to hate. I didn't have time to feel guilt because I got my young brothers, you know, I gotta keep my mind right. So, and a young kid shouldn't be thinking that, you know, not looking back, a boy shouldn't be thinking that in that situation. You should just be a kid.
Yeah.
But I think that was kind of a good thing when it came to that situation with my dad, because I should have been exactly how you felt. Like, because what if my pops never gave me game like that? Or I never got to spend time with them or just get that phone call that you was looking for. So, nah, man, I definitely like I have nothing. Like, I definitely understand why the majority, especially us black men who sometimes don't have our father in our life, feel that way, because we need that, you know. And a lot of times we don't talk about that.
We don't. And a lot of times I feel like it's almost more or less frowned upon when a man opens up about their feelings. And one of my favorite holidays, and I tell Sadie this all the time, like, Sadie, I look at her as my queen. Like, she's different from any other female that I dated, and that's facts, because she mentally holds me together. But on the other side, my dad, I go to him about everything, and I remember the first time my dad called me his son. Bro, I was about to start crying, and I'm a grown ass adult. I'm like 21 maybe or something like that. To where I actually heard him say my son.
And you needed that.
And I needed that. Bro, crazy story. We were actually in the parking lot waiting for my mom to file paperwork for a lawsuit we did against this company. And we were in the car. It was me, my sister, my dad, and my younger sister. And we was talking about a funny situation. I ain't gonna bring it up because it probably will piss somebody off. But we was talking about a situation, and my dad called one of his homies over the phone to verify a situation about a past relationship. And my dad introduced me. He was like, hey, bro, I'm just in the car with my son. Don't you remember this that happened in high school? Wasn't this true? And I looked at him like, what you just call me? And he didn't hesitate or nothing. Out of nowhere, me and my sister just look at each other. She just starts grabbing me, shaking me. And at that moment on, like, it's not that he just said it, he took full responsibility. Like, I'm not gonna lie, even if I do something stupid today, he cussing my ass out. Like, he cussing me out like I don't care that you 27. Like, I'll still go toe to toe with you and give you work. Like, he's he's really about that. And so like he's so kind-hearted and gentle too as well, to where he's gonna tell you exactly how you need to hear it. So like you said, with black dads, like, that's what I think a lot of our community needs, is that black dad, that black influence. And instead of looking up, you know, don't get me wrong or anything by what I'm about to say, but LeBron and things like that, they have those aspects to where people can look up to you and get hope. But to actually have, no offense to LeBron or anybody like that, but I'm talking about high class individuals that a lot of people look up to, primarily African Americans. LeBron's not in your household. LeBron's not in your neighborhood. LeBron is not in your city. I mean, obviously, if you in LA, cool, but you can't go talk to him. You can't just walk up and be like, hey, LeBron, what advice can you give me? He's hard to contact. So you having that relationship with your dad with no animosity, like, I ain't gonna lie, if my dad got out of prison right now, I'm like, I'm gonna treat him with respect and everything like that. But, you know, I ain't gonna lie, I would have been done snitched on a homie. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Look, if I got, my dad got kids. Like, so out of my biological siblings, so far, and it's so messed up, bro. You gonna look at the story and be like, what? But
you got a lot to lose, man. You got a lot of
no, not even that. But like, as far as I know, I'm the third oldest.
Okay.
The official oldest is yet to be verified, but
that is wild.
Like I don't know. So in my mind, I'm the second oldest, but everybody say I got another sister that I never met, and I'm 27, and my biological older brother, I want to say, is maybe 30 or something like that. So that means my older sister that's older than him that we never met is at least 31, 32 or something like that.
Man.
Never met the girl.
Yeah.
But so
imagine the day when you meet her. Ooh,
bro, no,
that's gonna be crazy.
Man, look.
It's not even
I even don't want to meet her. But no, back to that story though, like, I'm gonna be honest, I met my sister now. Like, okay, I got a sister that I met in 6th grade.
Damn.
Like, I'm talking about I met her in 6th grade and I didn't even know like she was my sister. Bro, this is gonna be wild. Like, we had the same classes, same everything. And I promise you
crazy.
How we met. And I promise she commented actually on my last video and said, I love you, bro. So if y'all go look at that video, it's gonna be her comment because that's the only one that I kept. But in 6th grade, bro, I promise you, funny fucking story on how we met.
That's wild.
She was like, and we had the same class. Thank God. And I pray to God I never had a crush on her, never did any of that. But one of the homies was actually trying to get with her.
Right.
But
you had the same last name or different last name?
Bro, different last name.
Okay, yeah.
So her mom, and shout out to her mom, she's actually dealing with breast cancer right now too as well. She just got diagnosed with breast cancer.
Man.
So shout out to her mom, Jennifer. If you see this, I love you. I definitely wish you the best and hopefully, get a speedy recovery.
Yeah.
But my sister, I met her in 6th grade, and how we met, we was in what we call industrial arts.
Okay.
And one day in the class, she was like, what's your last name? And I was like, Spates. And she was like, oh, yeah? She was like, that's my dad's last name. I was like, oh, for real? That's dope. Didn't think anything of it. The next day come, we start chopping it up again. She was like, what's your dad's last name again? I was like, Spates. She was like, yeah, that's my dad's last name too. She was like, you got a picture of him? I was like, nah. She was like, hey, I'm going to go get a picture and I'm going to show you. She went home. The next day, she brought the picture to school.
Yeah.
I was like, no, that's my dad. She was like, she was like, nah, you for real? I was like, yeah, that's my dad. She was like, that's my dad too. Man, we must have went. She went home, asked her mom, and got on the phone with my dad because he was still in prison at that time.
Yeah.
And he finally told her about me because he didn't know we went to the same school or some odd reason. Just never. He hid the shit on purpose. Like, he really did.
Wow.
And that's how we became. Like, that's how we knew of each other. I swear to God, like, it's crazy. And now today, like, we're as close as possible as any of my sisters.
That's dope.
Yeah, so I met her dope. Like that. But yeah, kind of, tell me like how it was being that older brother / dad. Because like how I know their reaction to not having a dad versus yours probably is completely different.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's an interesting position to be in as a young, kid, young man. But you kind of just grow into it. You don't really know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You just know you got to be responsible for it.
Right.
And you just try to be there for your brothers. So you really you learn on the job for real. So just had to be able to in a lot of situations know what understanding was, even though I didn't really know what understanding was. Yeah. So a lot of times I would just listen growing up. Yeah. Listen first and just listen, and then I would understand what I could do with it. Yeah. Don't get it wrong, man. You still a kid, so you're still making mistakes, but you kind of just minimize them as much as possible. Yeah. And it's such a weird situation because it kind of takes away from your childhood. Yeah. Because you don't really think about just being a kid, man, right. So, but no, man, I don't regret it at all, man. Yeah. I really appreciate being in that situation because my mind frame, my mindset, I don't think I would be in the same position, I would be in. For sure. And I like the way I am, how my attitude, my mind was kind of curated based off of those situations. So I'm thankful for it, man.
Yeah, because you was forced to grow up, but not only just grow up, you was forced to also, be a dad. Yeah. Like, if you really look at it, you was forced to be a dad. So
that's
how was that? That's
a big reason why I just got a dog right now.
Yeah, bro, I'm telling you right now,
my brothers.
Having 4 kids, bro, is definitely different for sure. Yeah. It's definitely an eye opener. But how was that for obviously you can't speak directly for your brothers. Yeah. But how was that? How are they taking that now?
They still see me the same. Yeah. They still see me the same, bro. I'm still like this big bro, and it's crazy. They're taller than me. They bigger than me. Yeah. But they still see me with like that guidance, that wisdom, and like like if they need anything, they know they could come to me. Like, and they know I'll give anything for them.
Yeah.
So you know, I take it with a grain of salt. I like the position I'm in, man, with them, and they know it's love. I'm always here for them, and we all just trying to figure out this thing called life together. But nah, man, I don't regret being in that position, man. I haven't been a father yet, but I know you don't regret being in the position you're in. Shout out to you, man. Respect to you, because being a father in a household is the most important thing.
Oh yeah.
To a little boy, a little girl, man, and they gonna realize it once they get, you know, to our age. And it's like, damn, my dad was around. He loved me. He always played with me, and he spoke life into me. He spoke confidence into me, and that's how you curate well-behaved people, just in general, man.
Facts, bro. And it's, I'm not, you know, it's not even all gravy too. Like my household now, with my 2 younger kids is amazing. Yeah. But obviously the goal is to have all my kids together. Because if you guys don't know, I have 2 older kids. I have my 9-year-old, and then I have my 5-year-old, about to be 6. So, dude, when I sit here and tell you, like, fighting for that, because me and the mom don't see eye to eye. Yeah. You know, me and the mom will never see eye to eye. Yeah. But I feel like in certain situations, and I'm about to speak facts, bro. So let me sit up.
Nah,
I'm talking my shit now. You done got me started.
I'm here.
But
I'm with you.
You know, we don't see eye to eye based off childish indices, you know. So from the mom standpoint of view, I didn't do this right. From my point of view, it's she ain't do this right. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, as a black man going to challenge a white person, bro. Yeah. It's a little challenging in a way, right? So when we were moving to Vegas and everything like that, it's a different type of ball game once you're, you know, involved in the court systems, bro. Yeah. So it's different. It's definitely different. And so I think, like you said, growing up, like, and my son sees it now. Like they want to sit here, and every time we've been on the phone with them, bro, like they're 22 hours away, but they'll obviously, you know, Dad, when are we coming back? When are we living with you? When are we doing this? When are we doing that? You know, I'm doing everything that I can while I'm away too as well, because don't get it twisted. I was, you know, when I was there, it was okay. Well, I have them this day versus this day, not this day, bro. I didn't have no control even as a parent, bro. Like, just based off the fact that the other one was being so childish and immature. Man. They always try to paint this picture as the male is not doing something right, or, you know, things like that. So, you know, growing up, it almost resembles how I grew up in a way. Yeah. But, you know, like I said, having kids, bro, it definitely changed you. Yeah. It changed me, I should say. It changes you overall. And if it doesn't, then you having kids in the wrong reason, you shouldn't be a parent. Exactly. But, you know, like, kind of going back to that situation with my 2 oldest kids, bro, like, knowing, like, hearing them still speak to existence, like, Dad, I want to live with you. Like, I don't want to be here. Like, my son, he's so smart and intelligent to where it's like, okay, you know you're going to end up with me. Yeah. Okay, I got this bread now, so I'm just waiting for the right moment to be like, all right, bet, I'm about to take you to court, redo this shit, and then bam. Yeah, I'm about to get my kids. Yeah. So, you know, it kind of just goes back to show, like, how important it is to have those 2 parents in a household. Because no matter how you look at it, no other man should be raising some other man's kids unless certain circumstances happen to where they have to. But like my uncle, he didn't have to raise me. You didn't have to raise your brothers, but you did that. Yeah. You know, so it's like, bro, toodles to, you know, us in a way, right? Because I feel like as black men, or as men in general, we don't get enough respect for doing what we're supposed to do in a way. Now that sounds crazy. Like, why would I give you credit for doing what you're supposed to do? Well, there's more men that's not doing what they're supposed to do versus doing what they're supposed to do. And y'all don't, a lot of times people don't give us the credit. But yeah, so it's like kind of just mentioning everything with, you know, my kids back home. So doing what you're supposed to do in the time that is needed. Yeah. And like, you had to step up to the plate, bro. Like, it's literally that's a blessing, bro. So how was it like, you know, growing up in LA after you kind of rekindled that relationship with you and your brothers? Because you went to the military.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know.
How was that life? Because you was gone. Because I know your boot camp. I know everything was a long term. So explain that for me.
Yeah, nah, man. You know it's crazy because you was in the military too for a little bit too. Yeah, we don't. It's like we don't even think we gonna go there for real. That was not the plan from the jump. But yeah man. After for some time spent after a little bit of college and stuff like that, I was like, man, I'm gonna just join the military just because like I was in my head really now thinking about it, like maybe I shouldn't have jumped the gun, but I don't regret it, man. So I ended up going to the Air Force for a bit, man, and that was back to what we were saying about just having that relationship with my brothers, man. It was hard on me internally because growing up in the household back with our mom, we didn't have a lot of that guidance for just regular life stuff, right? So I was a person who would figure it out and bring it back to my brothers and put them on game, so they didn't have a car license, they didn't know about credit and all this other stuff. It took me to figure it out, really learn it to and then translate it to them. But man, went to the Air Force, man. Boot camp was I was really cool off boot camp. Boot camp wasn't really nothing for me.
Crazy. How long was yours? What, 6 months?
Ours was boot camp was like 8 weeks.
8 weeks?
8 weeks, and then like right after that, they just transition you into whatever job, MOS or job you're going to. Yeah. So mine was at Lackland. Lackland and San Antonio Air Force Base. And then my tech school where you learn your job at was right in the same place. So I didn't even leave nowhere.
You didn't have to go back and forth between towns and cities and because I know that's what a lot of people did too as well. But how was that? So once you actually got out, like what made you kind of like get out of that environment or get out of the military to come back home to the real world? Like what made you kind of like, okay, was it an eye-opening experience? Like what was it like?
Yeah, no, I learned so much, man. I learned so much about myself in the military. I just learned so much about life too. I mean, the military for me was never the plan. So, no disrespect to a lot of people who get into the military at a young age. I know. A lot of people don't not necessarily get stuck in it, but it's easy to get comfortable in that because you get everything that's taken care of for you, and then it's almost you get in a routine, and a lot of times you get so far in that routine, years in, you can't look outside, you can't think for yourself anymore. So
that makes sense.
Me coming in, I've always had a strong mindset, so it's like I knew what I was doing from the jump. I really came in for the benefits, for real. The main benefit was trying to get into a house and things of that nature. So my mindset was always so like set on like, okay, I'm gonna use this as a stepping stone. And man, a lot of people, man, who don't have that vision for it, man. And this is for the people who think about if you might use the military, man, use it as a stepping stone because it's definitely gonna use you.
Quick. I'm talking quick.
He know. But man, a lot of people who you wouldn't even think of were in the military. Man, Michael B. Jordan. Denzel Washington. Donnell Rawlins. A lot of people who are very famous and some people icons. You know what I'm saying? I look up to a lot of Denzel. We were just talking about him the other day. Man. And then once I figured out, I was like, man, okay. As long as I keep this mind frame and have an idea for myself, once I get out, they did it, I could do it. In their respective, respective industries. But yeah, man, as long as you keep that self vision of your vision of self high, and you keep curating ideas for yourself, trying to figure out what you're trying to do, man, do that shit. Just like when you was talking about doing a podcast, you was talking about it for a minute. I was like, man, just figure out what you got to do, man. Do that shit. I was trying to give you that energy. I'm gonna give you that energy.
It definitely helped, bro. Because I'm gonna be honest, like in my hometown, man, this ain't no disrespect to somebody that's actually doing something, but there's not a lot of people that's actually doing something. And it's not showing like, or it's not saying like, oh yeah, my hometown is like hopeless or anything. But you didn't have that motivation or people that will actually be like, yeah, man, go do it. Go, it's different coming from family versus friends. It won't hit the same. I would rather it almost come from a friend more than a family in a way. Obviously they still kind of weigh the good options out, but hearing like, hey, bro, like go do it. Make sure you do that. Please go do it from a friend, bro. And it's actually coming in a genuine form. Yeah. Oh, it's crazy now. Like in the last episode, I was just explaining to people like, you motherfuckers cutting off friendships for competition in a way.
Man.
So yeah, no, I definitely appreciate it, bro. Like I said, it's been in the making for years. Like, bro, I just need to do this. Going from fitness to kind of doing this and not really leaning away from fitness.
Yeah.
But I feel like it got me to a spot to where I'm comfortable now.
Yeah.
To where I'm like, okay, I'm mentally set free now. Like I did all that I wanted to technically with fitness in a way. I didn't accomplish everything, from getting on the stage and things like that too. I didn't really accomplish those things, but it's okay because my heart and mind was there, but that's not where God wanted me to be at. And so God and my pastor always told me was like, bro, just go speak, just speak. And I'm like, how?
Yeah.
And I wanted to start a podcast when I was like a sophomore.
Yeah.
But the same, and it's crazy because what started it now was just me going to the store, buying the equipment, spending like, $1,500 to $2,000 on things like this.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I just needed to do that and that's it.
Yeah.
And then what really helped was, finding someone that was genuine enough to even be, to influence me, to give me information on podcasts and things like that. And so my motivation was coming from Eric Thomas, the huge motivational speaker that I listen to every day at work, bro. Every day at work I come in.
He talks about it all the time.
I work 7 to 4. Every day that I come in, dog, I'm literally on YouTube. Because Eric, he posts every Monday. Every Monday. So I don't usually watch his videos on the weekend just so I can watch them while I'm at work.
Yeah.
And so he posts every Monday. And I'll come into work on Tuesday and I'll watch his video before I start my daily like tasks that we have. And in the middle of my day, I'm watching another episode too as well. And then at the end of the day, I'm just listening to some music, telling myself congratulations, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so much stuff out there to where it can negatively influence us, bro.
Easily.
And I think as men in general, we don't have a lot of open room to really talk, to freely talk. Yeah. And that's kind of the whole process of, me wanting to kind of start this podcast too, because like I said, my life was not easy at all. No. Your life was definitely not easy at all. Yeah. Nobody has an easy life, really. Everybody has a story. But like I said in the last episode, you just got to be willing to open up because your story might be able to help somebody else.
Facts.
And so I'll get kind of like more deep into it, but like, growing up, like I said, I saw my mom get abused a lot, my biological mom.
Yeah.
I saw my sister get molested right in front of me. And it was to the point to where I'm like, and don't think I'm just putting their business out like this either, because at the end of the day, it is their business, but it's also my trauma. They went through trauma too as well. But I'm able to obviously speak on what I know and what I see it as and what I took it as.
Right.
So, even before I started this podcast, I had went to him and was like, hey, I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff now. I'm just making y'all aware. I'm not holding back.
Yeah.
But seeing my sister get molested in front of me was something that I'm like, I'm not going to lie. I thought that shit was normal.
Man.
Like, obviously I knew right from wrong, but I'm seeing it happen. I'm seeing murder every other day.
Yeah.
I'm seeing somebody get shot right at it. We lived in this apartment building called the Carter Building. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing somebody get shot and murdered right in front of me. My sister standing in the window looking right at the dude. We just like, oh, all right. We sat right back down, turned on the TV and watched TV, went to school the next day.
Yeah.
Like nothing didn't happen, from that and then kind of get even more personal, right? So how I always ask myself, or even, kind of yourself, how are we not like mentally ill in a way? Man. Because you go through a lot.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like, but for me, I ask that question is like, how am I not mentally ill to where I'm not in a white straitjacket or something like for real?
Literally.
And it's like nothing but God, bro. So like how, if you don't mind me asking, 'cause I know that's a little personal, but how are you like religion wise? Like what helped you get through that mentally other than just you telling yourself, I'm all right, I'm cool, I got to do what I got to do? Like, how did you get through that, like, mentally? What helped you?
Man, thinking back on it, man, I was so distracted, because I feel like I had these transitions, you know.
Yeah.
And yes, it was part of it was, you know, religion. I grew up in the church with my mom and them, and a huge part of it was sports. You know, basketball was like in my head was like everything at the time. We were all of us young black kids playing AAU in that area. We was so obsessed with like basketball and competing with each other. It was almost like a family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I you know, back to you starting a podcast too, like that energy of like wanting to see each other win. Like I was going out there for my brothers. You know, we go to travel on sports, on travel buses and stuff like that. Like it was really us brothers. Like we'll spend the night at each other's house, share each other's clothes, you know what I'm saying? Share each other's shoes. So it's like, I would genuinely want to see you win because seeing you win was seeing me win. Yeah. You know, and that kind of just stuck with me growing up. So like when it comes to just showing genuine love, like to this day, like if I have a genuine connection with you, if it was just cool, like and I mess with you, it's always gonna be just love, like
I appreciate that,
you know. So yeah, that's kind of where it came from. But back to so it was sports and you know, the church a little bit. So basketball, church, and my brothers, man, just knowing like they gonna be all right and we gonna be all right together, like just those three things juggled in my mind and kind of helped me submerge a lot of that, you know, trauma stuff. Because like you said, bro, we have every right to be traumatic in a straitjacket. But it's a blessing that we here, man. And shout out to you, man. Shout out to you for real. And thank you for doing this, because you're right. You know, a lot of us men just in general need something like this to look at in this space. So
I appreciate that, bro. And that's kind of my whole mindset too as well. Is like I want to be able to have not only men talk about a lot of stuff too, but invite some females to get a female point of view too as well.
Got to.
Definitely, because growing up, how did that all transition to my life now? Like when me and Sadie first got together, it wasn't bread and butter, bro. It wasn't like it wasn't great in a way. It was good, but I was taking my anger out. I was saying words that I shouldn't have. You know, I treated her less as a woman based off some issues that I didn't even knew existed. You know, obviously my relationship before her, we were together, I would say 7.5 years. But it wasn't, and this is strictly just facts. It wasn't a relationship for real. Like looking back at it now, it wasn't a relationship for real. I'm grateful and I'm blessed because I got two beautiful kids out of that relationship for sure. It definitely taught me a lot.
I'm sure
but
you learned
a lot. I don't think myself and that person was particularly locked in a way to where mentally and physically we would have been in a relationship that would have been a lot better in a way. But now my relationship it's different. It's crazy because like it all stems from how we grew up, how we kind of like let trauma speak for itself and let it out, you know, because I had a lot bottled up too, to where I was going to my mom sometimes like, why you ain't do this? You could have did this. Why you ain't try harder? Why you ain't do this? Like why are you drinking your life away? You know, so I definitely appreciate that, bro, because hearing it just, I'm doing something right. And then you sitting right here being an influence to not only your brothers, but to other individuals, you know, when you didn't have that influence right away, it is amazing. And I think, like I told Sadie now, it's like my favorite holiday is one, Easter, and then y'all can look at it as a holiday, but Men's Mental Health Month. Like I really like mental awareness. That's my favorite because during those months, right, Sadie, she would also be like, okay, this month is specifically for you. Like I want you to really open up. Like I'm not afraid to open up and speak. Like I tell people all the time, like I will sit here in any room and tell you the negatives before the positives. But I will leave the room feeling even more happier because you know my story, but what are you going to do with it? I'm still making money. I'm still successful. I'm still in this generation to where not a lot of people can say they made it out of a situation and still sat here and became something in life. I'm not the richest man on earth or anything like that, but in my family eyes, I'm the richest.
You're everything.
Yeah, I'm everything.
You're everything.
So like, how is how is your mom now? How's she doing now? How is your relationships now? Like, because obviously I don't want your brothers to be holding resentment because they may have a different mindset from you.
I'm sure.
But how is all y'all relationships now?
Man, no, I'm glad you mentioned that. The relationship with my mom, man, that's my baby girl.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie, that's my baby girl, man. And life does so much. As a kid, you see your parents, you see people around you older. Life does so much to them, you know, and you can see how it could change people and make them bitter. But from a young age, I just learned to kind of forgive myself, right? So I know a lot of situation wasn't really my fault. It wasn't really my mom's fault. It was just kind of life. So I just learned to just love my mom, man, because she needed a lot of healing. She's still going through a lot of healing, but man, to this day, bro, before I came here, she called me, just vents to me. Sometimes it's like she doesn't need a response. She just loves my presence, or just loves me just being able to vent to me, and I understand that. She didn't tell me that, but I understand that. And it makes her the happiest. It makes me the happiest knowing that it's almost therapeutic for her. So knowing that, man, she's my baby girl, man. I love that woman, man. She's done a lot. Relationship with my pops, man. He's my best friend now. And it's crazy because you won't even think about that. It went from pops not being into your life, not really thinking about him, to man, this dude's really a solid
being
dude.
there, and like it's like he never left.
Yeah, but you know how like sometimes when I know how a lot of dudes would feel in this situation when somebody would come back in your life who wasn't in your life, and they try too hard to be your dad or try too hard to be your mom, and it's like, what are you doing?
Like, why are you forcing it?
Yeah,
like, chill out.
But he never did that. It was always on some cool stuff and like genuine, like. Just genuine. That's why I respect him, because he's just a solid dude, and I respect him a lot, man. And I think that's why I opened up to him just off of bro. Like I knew like if he was my age, he'd be hanging out with us. Like cool. Yeah. But man, my relationship with my mom and my dad is solid, man. Yeah. Like you said, my brothers have their own perspective because they have their own dad. He's different from my dad, so they're going through some things, but I'm trying to be that light for them, trying to guide them in the right way and just show love. But overall, my mom and my pops are straight for sure.
No, that's amazing, man, that you still got that relationship. You still got that that bond going to this day. So I definitely want to give a shout out to your mom, because dealing with, any type of illness, it's almost like you waking up every day really not knowing if you're going to make it through that day. A lot of times people tell us don't look too much forward because not every day is promised. Man. But once you're actually, I feel like in an illness, bro, it's that really actually hits you in a reality to where it's hard to explain. And then my mom, she doesn't have that type of illness, but she has a real issue battling like alcohol abuse. Like it's so heavy to where, when you drink alcohol so much, you get what they call jaundice in your eyes, to where your eyes are, bright yellow or dark yellow. She kind of has that. She's healthy. She's alive. She's kicking right now. She's pushing. She's trying every day.
That's a blessing.
I tell people all the time, like some of my biggest role models right now, man, is I would say my aunt, which is my mom, and then my granny. Those are those three women are my role models. And then also my pastor and Sadie. My pastor is before all of them. I'm gonna be honest, like, because she's like, my pastor is like my other mom, because for you, you had that type of environment to where, you really look up to athletes and things like that too as well. But my pastor, like, I'll still call her to this day to get advice. What do I do? Before we moved here, I was a member of the church, and she's a lady that battles a lot too as well. But kind of going off of that, like my granny, she kind of took over in a mix of also my mom, my aunt, she kind of took over at the same time. I started living with my granny when I was in 6th grade. She raised me. I was living, and this is straight facts, I was living with my granny up until I was 22. I'm 27. So you really think about how long I actually been on my own. Bro, teenage years. Like I really in that time frame, like for real. So she watched me. She watched me grow up to be a father. And she didn't have her dad in life. My granny, she wasn't from. I would say she's not American, because she was born in Jamaica, raised in England. So she she had a different style growing up, like for real.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, with you living in LA, like what's your plan for the future? You know, obviously you don't want to plan too much ahead, but what's your goals? What's your, you know, your ambition to get to those, you know, those type of end goals? Because that mindset that you have, you can't, you know, kind of let it go to waste.
Right.
You don't want it to go to waste. You know, my thing is like, I want to be able to take care of my family as long as possible. Definitely my mom's, my grannies and things like that too as well. But like, what is your goal and what's your ambition? Like, you know?
Yeah. No, I'm glad you mentioned that, man. Yeah, like curating this type of mind frame, I think we could relate. I think that's one thing we relate a lot is our mindset.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely have a lot of things I'm doing doing some other things for me.
Yeah.
Business wise, you know, I've always been like a stylish, creative person.
Yeah.
And that's something I never really wanted to push out there so soon. One, because of fear, obviously, but two, also because I didn't want to be corny, you know, or so I thought, trying to do everything I really tried to curate something and do it. But now that, you know, I've been out of the military for a little bit of time and you know, I have all these ideas in my head, that's something I'm definitely going to have it come to fruition. But right now, primarily, I'm just continue to grow my Amazon business on the side. Yeah, that's something I've been quiet about, just making sure I get some money coming. But obviously put a lot of energy into that, just let that grow.
But this dude ain't never mentioned this to me. I'm looking at like, what? Bro, we at work every day, bro. Like every day just chilling.
Yeah.
And this dude, that's okay.
Nah, that's cool. And that's one of those things I always thought was cap until I really started making some money from it. But I really want to build it up to a point to where it's like, you know how you see somebody and they doing good, and then it's all of a sudden you're like, damn, how you doing, man? Like put me on. I wanted to kind of just put my head down and just grind to a point, because this is one thing that I realized as a man, like especially I have family in London too, because I'm half Nigerian. So when I graciously got by the military, I got to live like really in London for like 2 years. So I spent a lot of time with my uncle and my grandma. And my uncle, man, he came from the same situation we came from, right? My mom is his oldest sister. And my auntie, they went to America. He went to England. He grew up struggling, bro. Like, but then he's a doctor now. He pays for his spot. He's paid for his condo and my grandma's condo. He drives a Mercedes. Like, he was taking me like through these like private events in the city, like moving differently. And in that type of situation, I realized like, as a man, like that's what I really wanted to be like. Bro. I wanted to be a man who had everything speak for itself. And like that was for me to be around him. Crazy. It was like, and to be in that situation as a man, you're the one or two things. One, you're secretly gonna have animosity or hate towards it.
Easy.
Or you're gonna be that guy in the head who feels not insecure in a sense, but you feel so uncomfortable in a situation to where it motivates you, and you're like, damn, no, I gotta get like this.
Facts.
Like if he's like this, I gotta get to 10% of what he's on.
And that makes sense because, bro, like you ever notice, like you ever been, and maybe it's just me, but being like, you ever been that broke friend in a group? Like, like bro, like that feeling like that just made me feel like I was like, don't get it wrong. Like I was that friend that had all the flyest clothes and everything like that. But I had to go really hustle to get that. These mugs, they didn't. They had the parents or whatever like that you know kind of gave that option to them. Right. I never had that available right at my fingertips like they did. So I had to really go get it. But like one thing I like to tell people is like I've been that broke friend in that friend group to where I'm like, okay, ain't no way I'm about to sit here and be this broke friend. Like I had to be motivated to really go get it. And so like I know how you feel when it comes to that, because I'm like real men, like, it's just amazing because like I was that broke friend in that friend group. So seeing my homies have everything and I didn't. So seeing your uncle and everything be a doctor with a Mercedes and everything, it really motivates you, bro. Man. And I'm gonna be honest, like moving out to Vegas, bro, I never seen a Lamborghini until I moved here.
No way. Oh,
I swear, I never seen a Lamborghini Urus. I never seen I seen Corvettes. I seen maybe like a Bentley or something. But I never seen it. And I never been friends with nobody until I moved out here with them type of vehicles. Like some of my, friends that I met while working on Fremont, they drive those expensive exotic cars, but they also own their own company.
Yeah.
You know, some of my closest friends, like I said, is the GM of, you know, Fremont Street Experience, that I'm actually going to have him on too. But another one is the owner of the casinos, the Circa. I mentioned it at work, to where he's a good friend of mine. Or, you know, Chad Ochocinco.
Yeah,
you know,
shout out to Chad.
Working with him, like, it was different. Like, it was really different. So, you know, having those ideal role models in literally in front of you, bro, changes a lot, dog.
Man.
You know, like, so for kids that's in situations like, in kids or even adults that's even younger or older than us, you know, mid-adult age, what would your advice be, bro? Because it's like, I always, you know, ask people that question in general, like, what would your advice be? Because a lot of times people give these generic answers, like, you know, definitely like, keep going. Okay, well, I know what it means to keep going, but get deeper than that, you know, you feel me? So what would your advice be to be like, okay, if someone came up to you, they know your situation, you know, what would your advice be to them?
Man, the key thing, especially young men, I would really get close with somebody, especially other dudes that make you feel insecure around them, whether it's like physically, financially, and don't take that insecurity as like to put you down. Use that as motivation. That's one thing I really picked up on, like about 5-6 years ago. Like, you feel uncomfortable around them? Nah, bro, that's a goal, right? Pick their brain, right? Try and see what kind of, like, why they think the way they think. Because if you just get 10% of what they got, okay, now you can start building yourself up and start building trajectory to hit your physical goals, to hit your financial goals. And then, man, 5, 6, 10 years later, you're going to look up like, damn, like, it was all because I was around bro who's better than me in this. But instead of trying to be a hater or like really feel really insecure about it, man, just use that as motivation. And man, you gotta find those dudes who make you feel uncomfortable, because that exposure is gonna shift your mind frame to either like really be immersed in that insecurity or be forced to like think on what they're on, and you're gonna grow to what they're at, or you just get left behind. But in order to be the best type of person, men, you know, women, you gotta be around people like that, because that's the only way you're gonna grow.
No, I like that.
That's the only way you're gonna,
because it goes back to kind of like what people say too as well. You hang around people that are millionaires, eventually you're gonna become a millionaire.
Exactly.
Because their mindset is completely different.
Exactly.
So, you know, like I even said in my last one, like, dude, 19 years old, he a damn millionaire doing photography and things like that. So it's like, okay, well, his friends hanging around him, they're gonna become the same thing. So, and I think, like you said too, people and kids, younger age, I should say, they are, once they see someone to make them feel uncomfortable, they're just always dragged away from it in a way, instead of looking at it from a different point of view. Like, okay, like, I really envy you, not in a bad way, but like to where it makes me envy myself, to where I gotta go out and get it. Like,
exactly.
You know, a lot of times people look at it as more of a competition, bro. Like, it's all about a competition native aspect. So, you know, my advice would be kind of like what he said. Find that person that definitely makes you feel uncomfortable, man, and, you know, copy and paste some things that they actually, I'm not saying follow every tool that they do daily, but, you know, copy and paste some things that they did to get to that point, and see if it works for you. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. Right. You know, because not everybody has the same route. Not everybody has the same end goal. But at some point in time, a lot of times people have a lot of things in common, to where it can really bind everything together, to where it can get them to the next level. You know, everybody's goal in life is to not necessarily be rich and famous, but to be, you know, set free from corporate America or the poverty mindset and things like that too as well. Like I said in my last video too, some of the best athletes that I know was gangbangers, dog. Yeah. If they just had that opportunity to, you know, to work harder and, you know, talk to that one person that really was a huge influence, you know, because shit, in Waterloo, our coaches damn near, half of our coaches was horrible too. Yeah. Like, they wasn't really doing too much. You know, our coaches was damn near on the crooked side just as much as the criminals. Man. Our teachers, I mean, shoot, our teachers was all right, you know, but you know, it was just like, dang, we don't really have no role models like that.
Yeah.
Like really, really, really didn't have no role models. So, dog, it's amazing to hear your story for sure. We definitely got to obviously have you back on this thing. And then we even discussed about having, you know, a co-host, you know,
yeah, man.
Really get that going.
Y'all pray for me. I'm trying to be that guy. I'm trying to be here off limits.
Yeah, dog. Like, it's amazing, dog, because like you definitely have that energy that we kind of both got attracted to as well, right from the beginning, and things like that too as well. So it's like once we only really been working together 4 or 5 months. Yeah, like literally working together 4 or 5 months.
And that time flew.
That time flew, definitely. As soon as we, you know, sat by each other at work doing some work on the computers and stuff like that, we were like, bro, we started locking in right away. So no, that's amazing, bro. You got to take me out to LA though. I never been to LA. Never been out to LA. Never been out there. I know the food great. Definitely got to take like a boys trip out there, dog.
Yeah, it'll be cool.
You know, but other than that,
I know you want to go to a gym out there too.
Oh yeah, I want to go to a gym. I'm getting old, man. My body hurt. Like my body, I woke up out of bed, I had to literally roll. Like I rolled out that mud, my dang back locked up quick. You know, having 4 kids, man, is definitely different. But you know, one thing I do want to say is like I said before, man. Love y'all parents, man. Love those role models. Find y'all role models. Find y'all influence other than, you know, people that you can't really get close to. I'm not saying, you know, don't have them as influence, but find an influence that you guys can actually get close to and connect with, because that's what's going to be the main point of, you know, part of your success too as well. I want y'all to find that, you know, inspiration to where you can communicate with that inspiration, right? You can find that real motivational piece in a person,
right?
You know, because it's not in this day and age group right now, you can't really depend on a person that you don't have no connection with, right? You know, it definitely helps to see them being successful, but I feel like now in days even more, you need a person that you can, you know, be hand to hand with, you can communicate with, you can go over there and check on them, they can come over and check on you, definitely, because you know, closed mouths don't get fed.
Not at all.
Go out there and get it. And, you know, my last advice was don't be afraid to start what you want to start just because you may think it's corny or something. Because like he said, I didn't start.
Do that shit. That's exactly what I said. I said, man, do that shit.
Do it, dog. Because, like, why not? Like, the bad thing is you're just going to fail. Okay, cool. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. But back to the drawing board. But other than that, man, it was definitely a blessing having you on here, dog.
I appreciate you.
Your story is amazing from the start to where you're at now, and I do want to wish a speedy recovery with your mom, even greater than where it's at now, because you know that's definitely a scary sight too as well. Yeah. You know, but I hope that she definitely recovers even more. Thankful for her to still be in your life, and your dad still, you know, obviously in your life and doing what he's supposed to do, and y'all have that relationship. But most of all, your brothers, bro. I do want to, obviously, we gonna definitely have to bring you back too as well, because, you know, I know there was some things that we didn't talk about too as well. Yeah. But definitely want to say thank you, you know, for still being that big brother to your brothers. Yeah. Because, man, if you see so many siblings that's left hanging, to where it would have been easy for you to, you know, leave them hanging. You stuck through it and did what you're supposed to do. Yeah. So, you know, that's amazing. But, you know, any last words that you want to say to him, you know, before we end this off, what would your last words be right now to him?
Man, it's love, man, spread love. Don't hate on people, man. Yeah. Bro, like that's just that mind frame, that mindset. Don't be in that mindset, man. Yeah. Just look to uplift each other, man, and know that you can always learn something from somebody. Yeah. You know, even if they have less money from you, man, put yourself in that perspective and just take gems and just continue to grow, man. Yeah. I wish the best for everybody, man.
I love it. Well, y'all heard it from him, man. It's my boy Augustine. You know, hit him up, follow him on social media too as well. Everyone that I usually bring in here, man, y'all got to think I'm close with, I interact with them. But yeah, other than that, man, I do want to say thank y'all. Make sure y'all like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that. Off Limit Podcast, man. We lit. Peace.